Hello, today I thought I'd begin a little journey with those of you that are interested. I'm going to rebush an engine, and I thought, hey, I'm going to kind of show you a little bit about the steps I'm taking to make this happen. Those of you that are machinists may cringe, so I apologize ahead of time, but for someone who just plays a machinist on YouTube, I think I found some ways that work, and just maybe those of you that run into situations where you have engines that need to be rebushed, you may find some of this applicable. At least that's my hope. Okay, so in front of us is a Atlantic chassis. Now, this is a 48, and there's a tiny bit of wobble in these axles. They're not terrible. I mean, this engine could run for years and years and years. It actually runs really good right now, but it's going to be our test bed. So what I want to do next is push out the existing bushings that are in here and replace them. And notice the front one, so the one further away from the spur gear, notice how it's worn on this side. So it looks like 3 of them are in pretty good shape, but that one is pretty worn out compared to the rest of them. So interesting, but we'll get these pushed out and new ones installed. All right, so this is a little push pin that I made out of aluminum using the lathe so that I can hopefully push these bushings out. So that'll be the next step in this process. So here are the bushings that were inside the chassis. And it's interesting, these are actually what are called knurled. So they have that little bit of ridging on them, and that helps them stick. The next thing I'll do is use these as a pattern and cut some new bushings. I'm going to attempt to do these out of oil light, which is going to be really soft, but it will lubricate the axle as the axle turns. So it'll make it much slipperier, if you will. After using a center drill to make sure my twist drill would not wander, the next job was to double check the diameter of the twist drill against the axle diameter and go ahead and drill out the center. And then this will be followed by a reaming tool to make sure the inside of the bushing that I'm making here is going to be without any scoring or anything. It's going to lead to excessive wear. Because I've had so many issues with this soft metal breaking off, I'm using the end of the twist drill as a way to support the part while I part it off. The added benefit is that once the part is parted, it won't go flying. It will be stuck on the twist drill. And one part done. So this is for the front axle, and this is a piece that goes all the way through from one side to the other. It had some knurling on it, which is what this checkerboard pattern is, and that gets done with a tool that looks something like this. So I went ahead and duplicated that. I've done my center drill, and now I'm going to go ahead and do my twist drill. This is a little bit undersized, and so then I'll come back with a reamer that's the right size and go through the hole, and that'll take off just a tiny bit of material and give me a nice smooth opening inside, so the axle will have a smooth surface to roll up against. This is probably not best machining practice, but after pressing the bushings in, I put the reamer back in a mill and just ran that through. And here's why I did this. I did a test fit of the axle, and it didn't want to go in very well. And so I think there was a slight compression because these are really tight. So that's what I did. And now I'm gonna slide the axle and gear back in, and this side will be done. Okay, well, here's another update on this Little Atlantic project. As you can see, I've got the bushings in, and I've got the back one assembled. Rolls pretty freely, so that's exactly what we want. And again, these are the oil light bushings, which they're very soft metal. So one of the experiments that I'm curious to see is, you know, does it wear more quickly or does it not, because it's got oil in it? And time will tell. Again, just recap, this is also the commutator surface that I ran through the lathe and flattened it out. This is the first time I've ever done that, so it's completely flat and true, so that's cool. I also did the iron, so there will be no wobble in this. I even took a tiny bit off of above the gear here, again, just because there was a little bit of wobble. I want to take that all out. And now we're getting this kind of business, so it's it's running perfectly. I'm going to go ahead and finish putting things back together, and I gotta resolder this wire and the headlight, but we're ready to get back on the rails here in just a little bit. Oh, too bad. Thought maybe it'd keep going, but just doesn't quite have enough tractive effort. Just can't quite do it at 7.5 or so. Here's 12. Pretty acceptable. Take it up to 15 now. verging on too fast at 15 volts. And this is on wide radius curves with a heavy train. It just starts to lose. You hear that cut out. It just starts to tip a tiny bit, the tender does, at 15 volts. Well, as I look at the performance of this engine, I look at the voltage pull. The amperage is a little bit deceptive because we've got lit cars in this consist. So I'm going more off the voltage than I am the amperage. I think that there have been some gains made. The engine is definitely more free rolling than it was before I did the new bushings. I'm a little disappointed that my machining skills are not better, but I guess the same token, I'm just getting started, I'm just learning. I think that my bushings are a little bit out of alignment, and so the axles are maybe not quite as true as I'd like them to be. Obviously it still runs, but I can tell the front axle is just a tiny bit, you know, out of square. But again, there's enough slop in the side rods on these things and play in the wheels and everything that it's basically a non-issue. I think based on what we've seen though, performance-wise, the engine runs incredibly smoothly, freely. To be able to pull a train like this at 7.2 to 7.5 volts on level track is pretty remarkable. And it was doing so well on the steep grade that I've got on the hill that I couldn't even get any smoke to come out of it because I was barely cracking the throttle, and it was having no trouble climbing up the mountain, and of course came down very quickly because there's just no resistance. So I had to really watch the throttle, because if I gave it more than 10, 11 volts on the way down, it would appear to be just about ready to fly off the track. This engine runs more smoothly. In slow speeds, there'd be kind of a slugging, if you would. I think that was probably due to commutator surface that had warped, but it could also be due to some extra play in the bushings, axle bushing, because those were pretty sloppy, and the one axle was pretty worn. Time will tell if going to a bushing made from this oil-light material is smart or foolish. Again, will it wear extra quick because it's so soft, or because it's impregnated with oil, will it not really wear any more quickly than what you'd see normal bushings? So time will tell on that. But for the time being, I think it was a good learning experience, certainly. And good news is I don't think I made anything worse. No, I definitely see improvements here. I hope this has been interesting, and until next time, take care, God bless, enjoy those American Flyer trains. We'll see you. Bye-bye.